Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I live in Washington State. I know I have been absent from YouTube for a while now. I think it's been 6 months or so. I did need to take a break. I'm not going to get into my reasonings why, but I am coming back at the start of the new year. My channel is going to be different. I will be having a podcast every other week. I think those will probably be posted every other Wednesday. If you're one of my patrons, you of course will get it on the Friday before that. I will no longer be doing tutorials on YouTube. If you would like to see my tutorials, you can definitely check out my Patreon. I will be doing obviously Patreon updates and kind of sneak peeks and stuff like that. Also, I'll be doing shop updates because I am going to be opening a shop, and that will have all of my handmade items. It will also have my written patterns and charts and stuff like that, so you'll be able to, purchase those if you're interested. Also, I'll be having, crafting hauls and of course my knit crates when I get them, and yeah, so I hope you guys will like the changes, and I'm going to go ahead and get on to the podcast. So I do have new items. They will be in a separate video that I will be doing. It will probably be sometime this next week. By the time this is posted, it will probably be posted around the same time. So I do have new items that I got for Christmas, and I also have, just items that I've picked up over the last week or so, and then I have a couple gifts from my husband. Just I love you gifts that he bought for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get on into my finished projects. The first one is my Christmas stocking. I have a tutorial for this on Patreon if you would like to join me over there. But it is a rather large stocking, and I'm going to line it eventually. I didn't get it done in time to actually be able to use it for Christmas, but we'll be able to use it next year. And I have colors and yarn already purchased for all of my children's stockings, and I also have a cabled version of this that is my husband's, which is already put away because I finished his and he actually got to use it this year, but nobody else's got done. So I will be working on my children's stocking over, the course of this next year. But this is mine. It's a really simple pattern, and it is, like I said, it's rather large. It does, kind of curve around, so it kind of looks like, your normal stocking. This is red. This is Mainstays pink and Mainstays white. I really do like Mainstays yarn. I find it very comparable to Red Heart, and of course it's cheaper, so I find that it wears the same way, and this white is very soft. So I don't know why it is, but some of the Mainstays yarn is softer than others, but this white yarn is like super soft. I really like it. So there's that. The other one is just this little Yule log cake that I made on Yule. For those of you that don't know, Yule is the winter solstice, and I just wanted a little project to work on to kind of represent the day of Yule. So I worked on this. I will be having a written pattern for this. Unfortunately, when I made it, I didn't write it down, so I'm going to have to try and rework it. I'll be making another one and working the pattern, or writing down the pattern as I'm doing it. So I think it turned out really cute. and I really like it. So those are my only finished projects. I'm sorry if I'm a little sniffly today. My nose is running like crazy for some reason. So I have several projects that I'm working on. I'll start with this one. This one is out of the Crocheted Sweaters, Simple Stitches, and Great Designs book. My husband bought this for me a few months back, and it's just a sweater book. It has different styles in it, and I am working on the Fall Forward sweater. So it's just a simple sweater, and it has the cross stitch design along the shoulder and along the bottom of the sweater. It's working up really nicely. The only thing I'm not going to do is this really high collar, because I don't like collars. So I'm going to leave that off, and I'm probably just going to do a single crochet around it. But it's a very simple sweater. It has, it's basically just double crochet, except for the cross stitch, which is just double crochet anyway. You're just doing it in cross pattern on it. And I have finished, sorry for leaning, everything's on the floor. So I have finished the body panels a while back, and they're identical. They look like this, and this is what the cross stitch pattern looks like on the bottom. This is Red Heart Super Saver in Jade, I believe it is. I started a sweater on this, in this yarn. It would have been on this podcast sometime last year. From that, and have been working on this, and I am really liking how this sweater is working up. It's really simple, so therefore I'm not getting frustrated with it or losing interest or anything like that as quickly as some of the other sweaters that I have started and frogged. So this is the sleeve. I'm not quite done with it, but I think it, I think I got maybe 3 or 4 rows left, and then I'll be done with this sleeve, and then I'll just have to make the other sleeve and then seam it all together. So it will have the cross stitch, I believe, is the very last row. So it's working up really easily. It's a really easy pattern to follow. And the only thing that confused me on this one is the sleeve itself. You only increase 1 stitch every row. So instead of increasing on both ends of the sweater and then doing a row of just double crochet, you're increasing on one end 1 row and then increasing on the other end the next row. So it's a little confusing when you're reading it in the chart, but it works up perfectly fine. So I definitely recommend this book if you come across it. Definitely, snatch it. It has lots of different sweaters in it. So my next one is, it's a baby blanket that I just started. It could eventually maybe even make its way into a lap robe. A lap blanket, just depending on what I'm feeling like and whether I run out of steam on actually wanting to make it. But it's the simple chevron stitch. It is fairly large, and I'm only about 3 rows in. I just started this Christmas Eve, I think it was, and then I just haven't picked it up since. So just a simple chevron stitch, and this is Lion Brand mandala yarn in the colorway Pixie. I had started another blanket with this and didn't like the way that the colors were working up, so I ripped it out and started this. I think it's going to be really nice. I did have to cut a little ball of yellow off to just start with the white, because it had like maybe a wingspan full of this odd yellow that was just out of place. So I just cut it off and I started directly with the white, and that's kind of why it's all like this. But I have several skeins of this particular colorway that I got on clearance a few months back. I think I paid $1 a skein for them when Walmart was clearancing out all of that yarn. Everybody pretty much, you know, got their hands on this if they had went to Walmart at that time. But I think it's turned out really nice. I'm hoping that the color changes will be nice and not as, and not like it was with the other. Since it's such a larger panel, it should work out just fine. So I have started that. Pretty much everything that I'm working on right now, aside from the sweater, are baby blankets. They are for future tutorials on Patreon. So, you know, so my next one is just a basic solid granny square baby blanket. But I got these two colors on clearance at Walmart last month sometime, and they are Care & Simply Soft Party, and one is in Royal Party, or Royal Sparkle, and then Black Sparkle. So it's just a black and a royal blue. I got 2 skeins of these. It's what they had at the time, and I haven't been able to find it since, so I wanted to make a baby blanket out of it, but I knew that I wouldn't have enough with just those 2. So I went and found this Mainstays variegated color in Blue Skies. So it has all of those tones of the blue and this darker navy, which works out really well with the black. To kind of use as a filler color to be able to expand the blanket more, because like I said, I know that I don't have enough of the sparkle yarn to make an entire blanket just on its own. So I'm going to use this sky blue as a way of making the blanket bigger in between the sparkle rows. So I have the black sparkle. I'm going to use the sky blue variegated, and then the royal sparkle, and then back to the sky blue, and you know, so on. But the one thing about this is I'm not using coordinating rows, so I'm just going to randomly use random row numbers for each color. So there's not going to be any pattern per se to like I'm going to use 5 rows for the black and 5 rows for the variegated. I'm not doing that. It's just random, whatever I feel at the time. So it's kind of like rolling a dice. I know that some people do that. They roll a dice to see how many rows for each color. So it's kind of like that, other than I'm just crocheting until I think that I want to change the color. So that's as far as I've gotten so far. I'm really excited to be able to get into that sparkle blue. And I am using a 6mm, I think, but that's as far as I made it on that. This is one that I just found a pattern chart for on Pinterest, and just decided to, you know, do my own version of it. I believe it's called the slanted cluster stitch or slanted shell stitch, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it looks like this. It's really, really pretty. I like it. So I have, for this bottom section, I have Red Heart Super Saver Fair Isles in Derby Fair. So you got pinks and blues and greens, and you have white with blue speckles. And then you even have like a little section of just really light tan color. So I thought it would be perfect for both a boy or a girl, considering it's a baby blanket. So it could be used for either. It has both of those colors in it. And then this was one whole skein of the Fair Isle. Got me that much. And then I am using the equivalent amount of Mainstays white for the next section. So I got this at Walmart several months ago. It was right before my Walmart did their remodel thing, and now I can't find it anymore. So I have 3 skeins of it, so I'm going to do like this block section. So I'm going to do one whole skein of the Fair Isle, the equivalent amount of the white, and then another skein of the Fair Isle, the equivalent amount of white, and then the last skein of Fair Isle, and then I will border it in the white. I'm not quite sure what type of border I'm going to be putting on it, but this will be a tutorial on my Patreon eventually once I'm done with it, and I really like it. I think it's really cute. I love this stitch. I really do need to write down exactly what it's called. But that is pretty much what I've been working on lately. So yeah, I hope everybody has had a great Christmas. I thought that real quickly I would go through my 2019 goals. It's kind of a thing going around YouTube right now, so I don't really do resolutions at all. I pretty much am one of those people who I start something and I normally will finish it, and if I don't, then I'll, take care of it, frog it, and then, move on to something else. So, some of my goals for 2019 crafting goals are that I want to have more of a handmade wardrobe, specifically crochet handmade wardrobe. I do a lot of sewing. I have lots of sewn skirts and stuff like that. I'm actually wearing one of my sewn skirts right now, but I don't have a whole lot of crochet items. And that's partially due to the fact that I have made them in the past, but don't particularly like how the yarn has turned out, or the coloring, or the pattern itself, so I don't particularly keep them. So yeah, I want to have more handmade crochet items in my wardrobe. Specifically, I want to have at least 2 sweaters done this next year. One will of course be the one that I'm working on. I want to finish it, and then I want to do one more sweater. I have no idea what that's going to be. I want to have 2 crochet dresses. I do have a crochet dress in mind that I want for that. I do have a crochet book that I bought several years ago that it has a basic, almost t-shirt type of dress that has a A-line skirt to it, and it has pockets. So that will be the next one that I start after I finish my sweater. I will be starting that dress, and then I want to have at least one more. I don't know whether it will be the same dress or a different type of dress, but I do want to have at least 2 crochet dresses before the end of the year, and I want to have at least 1 crochet skirt. I do have the skirt in mind that I want to make. It's like it has 4 peaks on it, so it would be more like a square type of dress that has, or skirt that has the circle in the middle. I've seen a picture of it on Pinterest, but I have to figure out exactly how I want to do that and be able to make it for my size. So definitely more handmade crochet items in my wardrobe for the next year. The next thing I want to do is be able to record what I'm working on and what I've finished each month for the entire year. Hopefully for here until I stop crafting. But I would like to have a written record of what I'm working on, and maybe even pictures of it. I did get a gift that you'll see in the haul that I'm going to be having that will be useful for just that specific purpose. It's a crochet planner. So I want to be able to do that, to try and be able to look back at what I've accomplished through the year, and it'll give me a written record on what it is that I can exactly get done during a month, and how long it normally takes me to finish certain items. So that will be nice to be able to have. And then the next thing is to be able to actually work up more charts. I found a website where you can make your own charts off of, pictures that you have. I want to be able to actually work those into projects. I have a tutorial for a hat and a pair of fingerless gloves that are worked off a chart like that, but I want to be able to have more projects that I am, using those charts for. Another thing is I want to use more of my pattern books, like my stitch pattern books. You'll see in the haul that I got 2 new books for granny squares, and I want to be able to work those granny squares into projects, also. Next thing is I want to get all of my my tutorials and my personal patterns into written form. I need to work on being able to do that more, and I have already started doing that. I have a lot of my patterns already written up, so those will be available in my shop once my shop is open. Of course, if you are a patron of mine, you'll have access to whatever pattern it is that I posted for the month. So you can always check out that. My Patreon is actually, I'm redoing some of the tiers and stuff, so if you're interested, definitely check that out. So those are my crafting goals. As for my life goals, they're kind of just, frivolous little things that I just want to be able to incorporate more. One of those is I have a rather large makeup collection, and I know that, you guys see me in makeup in my videos normally, but in my daily life I've kind of slacked in that, and I really only have been using my makeup when I'm doing videos. So I want to get out of that bad habit and being able to use my makeup collection more, at least 3 days a week. That is just kind of at least 3 days a week. So I just, because the makeup doesn't last forever, and it does have an expiration date, and you need to use it in a timely manner. So I want to be able to do that. And I do enjoy doing different eye looks and stuff like that. So it's something that I enjoy, but haven't been doing a whole lot of lately. Another thing is I have this really nice cast iron pan set, and I've hardly ever used them. I've had them for several years now, and I have the entire variety of sizes, and I want to be able to use them more. And I've already started doing this already in my daily life. Instead of going for the normal pan that I use, I will try and pull out my cast iron instead. And in the long run, it's going to make less work for me, because I won't have, like, some meals I have to use a pan, and then I have to transfer it to like a casserole dish and put it in the oven and stuff like that. And with the cast iron, I can just use the same pan and put it in the oven and not have to worry about it. So in the long run, it's less work, but in other ways it's more work, because with cast iron you have to treat it in certain ways. It has to be washed usually right away, and then it has to be you have to oil it to put that protective oil layer on it in order for the fact that it doesn't rust. Yes, I have went ahead and I did go ahead and prepare all of them when I got them, But I have noticed that over the years, if you don't do that protective oil when you're using it right after it's been washed, it will actually rust. So it is it's an extra step in the cleaning process, but it's one less dish that I may or may not have to use and clean later. So I want to be able to do that. The next one is spending more time learning my tarot cards and my runes. I got a brand new deck of tarot cards from my husband for Christmas, and he had just bought me your beginner's basic set a couple months ago. So now I have 2 sets of tarot cards, and I really want to try and push myself to be able to learn them. And it's quite a feat because there's 74 cards in it or something like that. It's a big deck. So you have to remember each individual card, what it means, and all of that. And then I want to also work on learning my runes. So my husband bought a joint set of runes for him and then I also have a set of runes that I made. So I want to work on being able to remember each one of the meanings of each one of those, and being able to actually use them. Another thing is I would like to just carve out more family time. My husband works long shifts, and he has to drive over an hour to work and home. So he works 12-hour shifts. So he has a good 14 to 15-hour day that he is away from home. So I want to be able to set out more specific time for us to spend time as a family doing things, even if it's just choosing a movie to watch, or going outside to our fire pit and roasting marshmallows, going camping, or whatever. We worked really hard this last year to build our outdoor patio. It's like an enclosed patio. It's away from the house, but it's completely enclosed where our spying neighbors can't watch us, and we have our fire pit out there. So I want to be able to use that more. We bought a camper this last year. Want to be able to go camping this summer, and just go on outings. We don't have a whole lot of nature here. We're kind of in like a desert sagebrush area, so we don't have a whole lot of nature. And in the part of Washington State where I live, it's just pretty much burn up. It just burns every summer, so we don't really have any forest area that we can go to. But I would like to be able to have more family outings and just more family time. We don't even have to go out anywhere. We could just, spend more time together as a family doing something. Even if it's just, going to the Red Box and choosing a new movie, which is what we did for New Year's. We went and got a couple movies that my youngest has really been wanting to watch, and we got pizza, and we just, stayed home as a family and spent time together watching movies and, eating and whatnot. So, and even that little bit of time it's better than not having anything. So, I want to be able to do more of that, just carving out specific times that we could just spend together. Doesn't matter what we're doing, as long as we're together doing it. Also, I want to get back into making handmade baked items and cooking items. I mean, everything that pretty much we eat is cooked at home. We don't do pre-packaged stuff that often, but I used to bake my own bread all the time. I used to can and do all of that stuff, so I want to be able to get back into that. I'm not quite sure why we ever stopped, but we moved from our original house that we were renting to a different house, and things just kind of went out the window when we did that. And I've just never been able to regain where we were at back then. When we lived in our original house, we did more like homesteading type of stuff. I did a lot of preserving and all of that, due to the fact that we didn't have a whole lot of money. So that's kind of how I did it. And then things didn't really change, I mean, financially when we moved. So I don't know why we ever stopped doing that, but I want to get back into that. I want to try and do more homemade baked items, try and do some more canning and pickling and stuff like that. So hopefully I'll be able to incorporate that more into our daily life like it used to be. But those are all of my goals for the next year, and they seem like a lot, but you know, it's nothing out of the ordinary from what I normally do. So I think that is it for this week. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.